as a kid, like I had to lower the volume and like be like so close to the TV with the remote ready to fast forward it or stop it in case the parents walked in. Because there is so much nudity, so much inappropriate language, and so much violence in that animated series. What's up, YouTube? It is Drive-By Movies coming at you with another episode of Sequeled. My name is James.
My name is Blaise.
And this week I am sequelizing the 1997 hit film that never got a sequel and has been talked about being rebooted. Still hasn't, so might as well just go back to making a sequel. That movie is Spawn.
Evil has a new enemy. Justice has a new weapon. And the world has a new hero. Spawn.
Oh, God. Aren't they supposed to make a new one, though?
Dude, I don't know what's going on with that. That was announced like 2 years ago. So Spawn was actually one of my favorite superheroes growing up, and it is due in part to the 1997 movie that if you rewatch right now, it is one of the worst movies you can watch, and it does not hold up well. But as a kid, though, I loved it. It felt very edgy and new for me to like, something about hell and stuff when I went to Catholic school. Blaise, did you have any experience with Spawn at all?
The most of my experience would probably be like my older brother, like purchasing and playing with the toys. Like he didn't read the comic books, but like that's something about like Spawn is the toys were always very cool. Like McFarlane toys is a thing and like has been since, but they always had the most like iconic toys that basically told a story in themselves. Like,
right. Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah. And I think what drew me most to the comics was just how detailed they were. I think Todd McFarlane's one of the most talented artists to, ever be known. I mean, he's the creator of Venom, and he was so popular when he rebooted Spider-Man in the 80s. So yeah, I mean, it was understandable, and I love Image Comics. They're probably my favorite distributor these days, and I love how they distribute stuff, like how every creator essentially owns their own comic, but just uses Image as the input to distribute it. So I always like that it's like an indie comic book group, essentially, to where like anyone can come out and just write like a graphic novel and just bust it under Image Comics. And Spawn is, I guess, one of the longest lasting ones. And one of my greatest experiences was watching the animated show as a kid. I rented it as a kid from Blockbuster, the movies, not knowing what they were. It's one of the few things where my mom didn't second guess it because of just like, oh, it's a cartoon, it's Spawn. I saw it, let him watch the movie. It should be fine. And I don't know, sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, but like, if you watch that, I was like, as a kid, like I had to lower the volume and like be like so close to the TV with the remote ready to fast forward it or stop it in case the parents walked in. Because there is so much nudity, so much inappropriate language, and so much violence in that animated series. I was just,
oh my God.
Yeah, I was not prepared for it. And, I've rewatched it a couple times since then on our old podcast that Blaise and I used to host. Like, I remember rewatching it. And what holds up most is season 1. Season 2 and 3, the look of it's really cool, but story-wise, they weren't as great for me. But season 1, I think, holds up and is definitely my main inspiration for going in a sequel. I know Todd McFarlane has his plans with his sequel with like Jamie Foxx, and like he wanted Jeremy Renner to play the character Twitch, the cop from the series and the comics. But I don't know when that's happening. So like I'm taking initiative. I'm taking over.
You got it.
Yeah, I got this. I'm a fan, and this is what I would want to see. I definitely would want still Spawn to be the main character, but to be as dark and moody as he is in the show, to where he's only talked when talked to, essentially. He wants to be left alone, but eventually he is going to start taking notice of some of the stuff that's going on in Rat City. Rat City is this weird alleyways of New York that is where the comics take place. And it's just a slumlord full of like just like homeless people and sick human beings. And it's just like a gateway to like hell, essentially, to where all these like demonic creatures like Clown or the Violator come out. So all these children are going to be going missing in New York. Essentially, they're all kidnapped, and some of them are being found in these alleyways, murdered. And so these two cops, Sam and Twitch, are involved. And Blaise, one of your favorite actors, Scoot McNairy, is going to be playing Twitch. And
mine or yours?
Well, he's mine. Yeah, Blaise just always cracks up every time I bring up Scoot McNairy. I see him playing Twitch very well. He's got the mustache in some of his roles, and playing the role of Sam, I would want Tyler Labine to play him. If you're not familiar with him, he's most popular from Tucker and Dale versus Evil. He's been in a few comedic indies as well, too. I've always liked him as an actor, and I think definitely them two, if you pair them together, they'd capture that very well. So they're trying to figure it out. And amongst it is Spawn living alone. I would just want Keith David to play the voice. I think it could be a CGI version of Spawn. You could just do motion capture very well with him, and just have his voice. Essentially, you could get any actor to do the movements of Spawn, and hopefully we'd be able to get cool CGI on him. I think modern technology would be great with that. And so as they start to solve like what's going on, the inspiration from the series was the son of like a senator, I think, is kidnapping it, and that's why like he's kind of going unnoticed. But I would want this character. It's this really creepy comic character that really freaked me out as a kid. His name is Freak in the comics. I forget his real name within the comics, but that's just like the nickname and his villainish character. He's like a creepy old lanky long-haired dude who like always plays around with a knife. So I would imagine him like going around in like an ice cream truck, luring kids and kidnapping them and murdering them and selling them off to like, you know, like unfortunately sell them off to really. Spawn was always a sick, disturbing comic, so he's selling them off into like these weird child rings and stuff to where like illegal activity is happening. But like he gets the pleasure out of kidnapping and killing kids, and that's how he's doing it, through ice cream trucks and luring kids that way. And
yeah, I'm getting a Freddy vibe here.
Yeah, exactly. Who I'd want to play him? I'd want Mackenzie Crook to play him. Mackenzie Crook is most popular from the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, but also he played, I forget his name in The Office, but he's in the original BBC version of The Office. He played the...
Dwigged.
What was it?
Dwigged.
Is that his actual name in the show?
No, it was it's not Dwight, but he's the Dwight character, correct?
Exactly, yeah. So he's like a lanky guy and stuff, and I can imagine like the proper shots on him to make him look tall and creepy and hunched and stuff. So I just imagine him with like creepy long hair kidnapping kids out of ice cream trucks, where he seems innocent and fun and nice, but to where he's just a horrific person. And so yeah, it would be a cool detective mystery between Sam and Twitch trying to figure out who's like kidnapping him, and Spawn is amongst like trying to figure out who he is. And like it would leave off where the first one kind of did, where you don't need to have a remake and tell where he came from. He's just there, just trying to remember stuff. So we'd get some cool flashbacks of like his previous life essentially, but not focus too much on like his best friend Terry, who hooked up with his ex-wife Wanda, and then they had a kid together named Cyan. Like ignore that kind of stuff. You can have like flashback images, but it doesn't have to be a big pivotal part of the plot essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely sounds interesting. I just can't help but think that there's an alternate universe. I mean, if you believe in alternate universes, realities, other worlds, essentially, there's another Earth out there where Scoot McNairy is killing it because he's starring in every single movie that exists.
Yeah, that I put out on Sequeled or the movie and stuff. Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if Scoot McNairy was in every movie ever?
I know, geez.
Would he be as good as where you put him on the pedestal of acting?
Yeah. For anyone who like wonders, if anyone who watches our videos and just like, damn, Scoot McNairy being brought up again, it's because the movie In Search of a Midnight Kiss, he gets so many different like kind of characters into that movie, where he's just like plays the loner type, the comedic type, and just like the romantic type all in one movie. Nothing about that like says any action or creepiness or anything, but I just like his mannerisms I always liked. And he's also great in movies like Monsters and Gone Girl and a bunch of other movies. But
Narcos season 3,
still need to check that out.
Narcos Mexico.
Yeah. But yeah, I can see him with Tyler Labine, like them having really good chemistry in a movie as 42-year-old cops essentially just trying to solve this mystery and it's dark and stuff. We don't get too many movies like this essentially, and it'd be interesting to see a comic movie like focus on a subject like this, where this stuff does happen. Nobody wants it to be going on, and nobody really wants to see these images, but think it'd just be an interesting take to take a superhero kind of film. But yeah, that's going to be it for my episode of Sequel. You know, if you haven't seen Spawn or the HBO animated series, I mean, definitely check it out. You can hit our Amazon affiliate link in the description box below to watch those.
Definitely go check that out. Smash that like button, guys. And of course, hit that subscription button and click the notification bell to get an update for all of our new videos.
Drive-by movies concluding this week's episode of Sequel. Be sure to tune in next week for another new video.